Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of a brand new podcast called Tax Tea Break with Go Simple Tax. This is the final episode of our 6-part podcast launch series when I speak to tax and self-assessment experts who share their tax tips for sole traders, private landlords and others who pay UK tax via self-assessment. My name is Mark Williams and I'm your host. Hopefully you've made yourself a nice cup of tea. Now each 20-minute episode has its own subject, and in this, our 6th and final episode of the series, you can find out about Making Tax Digital, an important government digital initiative that's being phased in stages. It's already affected all VAT registered businesses, and income tax self-assessment will be next. When introduced, it will radically alter how sole traders and private landlords report their taxable income and costs to HMRC. But before we learn about Making Tax Digital from today's guest expert, let's find out how Go Simple Tax could benefit you if you pay tax via self-assessment.
Tax returns, do they fill you with fear? Self-assessments can be, taxing. At Go Simple Tax, our software makes it a doddle. Submit your return quickly and easily. Simple. Go Simple Tax flags potential tax savings and deductions you may be entitled to and could save you money. An inbuilt error checker ensures no mistakes are made. And with tens of thousands of returns submitted, you're in good hands. Our excellent support team is there to support you at every step of the way. Go Simple Tax, the easy solution for making tax digital. Did I mention it's free to try? Let us help you. Go Simple Tax, the simple way to tax return.
It's time to introduce our expert, Govinder Saimbhi from HMRC, the UK's tax authority. Govinder is responsible for raising awareness of Making Tax Digital among UK SMEs and helping them to better understand what working with Making Tax Digital involves and how it could benefit them. Welcome, Govinder.
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be here.
Brilliant to have you. In very basic terms then, Govinder, what is Making Tax Digital and why is it being introduced?
So Making Tax Digital is a key part of the government's tax administration strategy. It's aimed at transforming the current tax system so that it's more effective, more efficient and easier for taxpayers to get their tax right. Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment, or MTD for ITSA as we call it, means that impacted taxpayers will be required to keep digital records of their business transactions and send quarterly updates to HMRC. We believe that moving to digital integration will eliminate many of the existing paper-based processes, thus reducing errors and allowing impacted taxpayers and their agents to devote more time to running their business, so that going digital makes managing business finances more straightforward. Millions are already banking, paying bills and interacting online, so going digital with business records and taxes is the next step. It will give businesses more control and better capability to forward plan with their finances.
Obviously, it's Making Tax Digital, as you say, it's not only going to impact VAT, it's going to impact income tax as well. VAT registered businesses, they've already been impacted by Making Tax Digital, and it was introduced in 2 stages. But as I say, now all VAT registered UK businesses must comply with Making Tax Digital requirements. How has that introduction gone, Govinder? Has it been a success?
Yes, Mark. As you said, it was introduced in 2 stages with MTD for VAT going live for those with an income of above the VAT threshold of £85,000 in April 2019. And then 2 years later, all remaining VAT businesses joined in April 2021. MTD is important because it helps reduce common errors in business records and returns, and it reduces the amount of tax that is lost due to errors and mistakes. We know that more than 2 million businesses have already benefited from Making Tax Digital for VAT, and more than 19 million returns have been successfully submitted through the MTD-compatible software so far. We already have a very buoyant MTD for VAT software products market, so we've got over 500 in that space that are available today. We also know from independent research looking at taxpayers using MTD for VAT that MTD is achieving its aims. And there's a growing body of evidence from research and insight from businesses already operating MTD for VAT that shows that these businesses see a range of benefits. And these include an integrated approach to business administration and tax, which results in spending less time on administration. And these are the principles that we hope will be carried over into MTD for ITSA.
And obviously that's very important for people running their own small businesses, that they can save time and things like administering the tax becomes easier. and then they can concentrate on other things, other aspects of running the business.
For sure.
Okay, so Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment was due to be introduced next year in the first phase, and it was going to impact sole traders and landlords with taxable income of £10,000 a year. Now, in late last year, in 2022, the government announced that it was going to be delayed for 2 years. So now it won't be introduced till 2026. And in that first phase, it will impact landlords and sole traders with taxable income of £50,000 a year. So what is the reason for the delay, and why is the threshold being increased, Govinder?
So in terms of the reason for the delay is that we know that income tax self-assessment, the population that's going to be impacted is very complex. So what we've done is actually broken that down. And as you rightly said there, Mark, those with an income of above 50,000 will be mandated from April 2026. And will then move to those with an income of more than 30,000 will be mandated from April 27. And we also want customers who can and want to can join voluntarily beforehand if they're ready and want to do that. But the government is also looking at the needs of smaller businesses, so those under the 30,000 threshold. So we're looking at that at the moment, but we're not making any mandation date. We acknowledge that it's taken longer than anticipated, and we remain committed to delivering MTD for ITSA as a crucial part of the long-term plans to digitalise and modernise the tax system. But we want to make sure that we get it right. We want to make sure that we land it properly and safely.
So in that way, it doesn't become a problem for businesses. They can just benefit from it.
Exactly. There's a wide range of characteristics of the self-assessment population, and it means that it presents challenges in ensuring that each customer and the agent is adequately supported through this transition. And our aim is to partner closely with the software industry to ensure customers have a range of products that best suits their business needs. And larger businesses will be the first to be mandated to use this software for their tax affairs, giving smaller businesses longer time to prepare.
Okay, so as you've mentioned, it's going to be introduced in the first phase in April 2026. So how are recording and reporting habits going to have to change under Making Tax Digital for ITSA, Govinder?
So, there are a number of changes. So those businesses that are mandated to join MTD for ITSA will need to keep digital records and replace their paper record keeping habits. They'll need to send a quarterly summary of their business income and expenses to HMRC using MTD compatible software. So that's really important. We're expecting this to be a simple and straightforward process, and we must remember that HMRC are not asking for quarterly payments. And I just want to be clear on that one, because I do get asked that question quite a lot. It's a summary of business income and expenses only. And in return, they'll receive an estimate of tax calculation based on the information provided to help them budget for their tax liability. And at the end of the year, they can add any non-business information and finalise their tax affairs, again using MTD compatible software, and this will replace the need for a self-assessment tax return.
Great. And as you've mentioned, that's going to be very beneficial to a lot of small businesses, knowing each quarter how much tax you're likely to owe, because it's the classic story that many small businesses get to the end of the year, they get hit with a large tax bill that they haven't budgeted for or they haven't put money away for. So it comes as a big surprise. So part of the advantages of Making Tax Digital is that it gives you that every quarter, you know roughly how much tax you're going to owe.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you've mentioned that it's going to impact sole traders and landlords. What happens if I'm both?
It'll be reported in the same way, but there'll be two submissions, one for each of your business activities. So customers will have a range of MTD compatible software to choose from, and you're not obliged to use any one piece of software to meet your requirements, nor are you obliged to use separate software packages for different income sources. So it's really about understanding what your needs as a business are. And we do have a really good list of compatible software on gov.uk, and that can be found by searching for finding software that's compatible with Making Tax Digital for income tax. So do use that list. It's a growing list, so we're working hard to make sure there's a wide range that's going to be available for when we go live.
Excellent. Okay. And as I understand it, business owners and landlords can use bridging software. So it's software that enables them to use their existing bookkeeping software, but they can still report their figures to HMRC in a way that complies with MTD requirements.
Yes, that's correct. We are working with software developers to actually make sure that there is MTD compatible bridging software that's available for those that want to use those spreadsheets, etc. So do look out for that as well. And the software choices page will help you identify the right software that's available for you.
Okay, so can people opt out of making tax digital, and if so, on what grounds?
That's a good question. And again, it's one I get asked a lot. Although HMRC are mandating the use of MTD, if people or taxpayers are looking to opt out, they'll need to apply for an exemption, as we call it. They'll need to tell us why they can't use the digital services, and HMRC will need to approve that exemption. So each application for an exemption will be considered on a case-by-case basis. So examples of why a customer may apply for an exemption include things like age or disability, where it prevents them from using the digital services, location, and for instance, if this means they cannot get internet access at their home or business address, and if it's not reasonable for them to access the internet at another location. So, it's another important thing to remember is that if HMRC has already confirmed that you're exempt from making tax digital for VAT, for instance, for one of the reasons that I've mentioned above, then you'll not have to apply for an exemption for MTD for ITSA if that's applicable to you. That will be automatically carried over to MTD ITSA, and you'll get a letter confirming that in due course.
But if you can't get exemption, if someone, either a landlord or a sole trader, currently maintains paper financial records, then there's no avoiding it. They're going to have to start using software to record their income and costs.
Yes, absolutely. And we will try and make sure that we've got a range of support products available to help them to manage that transitional process. So, look out for our webinars, our podcasts, our events, etc. And look out for what's going on. We'll try and support as much as we can.
And just because you have a preference for using paper books, that's not a reason for exemption, is it? You're just going to have to start using the software to record your income and costs.
Yeah, so let's just explore that a little bit. So, digital records will need to be kept and maintained using MTD compatible software. So that's a given. And customers may already be keeping business records in a digital format using software. However, they need to make sure that their software is definitely MTD compatible. And in order to minimize costs to businesses, HMRC is working closely with software developers to ensure free and low-cost products are available. So we're really working hard on that. And all approved products are listed, as I said, on the software choices page. So do have a look at that.
Okay, so what will the payment deadline be once Making Tax Digital has been introduced for income tax self-assessment?
So payment deadlines will remain the same as prior to MTD. So for instance, for VAT, it's 1 month and 7 days after the end of their accounting period. And for ITSA, it will remain as the 31st of January, the year after the end of the tax year. So for example, the 22-23 tax year ends 5th of April 2023, but payment isn't due till the 31st of January 2024.
Okay, and what about people who are part of an ordinary partnership? When will Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment affect how they record and report tax information?
With partnerships, we have given dates in the past, but I will confirm that the UK government will not extend MTD for ITSA to general partnerships as previously announced for 2025. It does remain committed to introducing MTD for ITSA to partnerships, but at a later date yet to be confirmed.
All right, and just let's look a little bit more at the benefits then. So when sort of sole traders and landlords are working with Making Tax Digital for its requirements, how could it benefit them?
Digital record keeping and making regular updates to HMRC are a core part of the design for MTD. We believe that through regular digital record keeping and ready categorisation of income and expenditure within the software, we expect many taxpayers will find their end-of-year processes much smoother and easier. The updates will help self-employed individuals and landlords and their agents understand and manage their tax affairs by generating tax estimates through their tax accounts. And we've spoken about this before, but this can help plan budgets and cash flows much more accurately. And also through software, there'll be helpful prompts and nudges that will be provided, and this will give an early opportunity to address errors or missing entries. And these prompts can also help ensure that taxpayer is aware of any reliefs and allowances that they may be entitled to. So that's a good thing.
And I suppose if you're not already working with bookkeeping software, once you do start working with it, then it's a better way to understand your cash flow and your business performance, because the facts and figures are there for you to look at.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where can sole traders and landlords find out more about Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment? Presumably on the HMRC pages of gov.uk?
Yeah, absolutely. We've tried to make sure that everything's contained in one place. So you can find more information on MTD for ITSA, such as a list of software, including free options, and check when to sign up, how you can do that for MTD ITSA on gov.uk by searching for Making Tax Digital for income tax. I'd also recommend signing up for the updates on any particular topic you choose. There is a button at the top of each section on gov.uk where you'll be prompted to enter your email address. So you can keep up to date, keep informed, and be prepared.
That's wonderful. Really, really great stuff. All that remains is for me to thank you, Govinder, for being such a great guest and for sharing your knowledge and insight with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There we have it. So what are the 3 key takeaways from this episode? Well, introduction of Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment has been delayed until 6th of April 2026, and it will only affect sole traders and landlords with a taxable income of more than £50,000 a year in the first phase of introduction. 2, the process. To comply, you must maintain digital records of your income and costs and send summaries electronically to HMRC after every quarter. At the end of the tax year, you confirm the figures you've submitted with any accounting adjustments made, and then you make a final declaration confirming any other income received. HMRC will then tell you how much tax you owe. 3, Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment can help you to better budget for paying your tax bill each year, because you'll have a rough idea each quarter how much tax you owe. And as we've heard, there are many other benefits too. Hopefully this episode has given you a much greater understanding of Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment. But you can also head over to the Go Simple Tax website, which is gosimpletax.com, for more information about Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment. And also be sure to visit government website gov.uk. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and series and that you've learned lots of useful stuff. Please tell others about the podcast and follow us and like and share our social media posts, because we really do want to help as many sole traders, private landlords and expats as possible. As always, thanks for listening. We hope to be back again soon.